Everybody, today is Tuesday, October 26th. My name is Steve, and I'm the host of Wake Up America. We have quite the show for you today. We have Texas Gubernatorial Candidate Don Huffines coming onto the show, and he's going to talk about the border crisis that we have, or the lack thereof, or whatever you want to say with that, and what America needs to do to stop what's happening at our border. 192,000 people crossed in September. We are entering dangerous territory. We're already in it, but we also are going to talk about students in Loudoun County who actually held a protest today and walked out of their school in a bunch of different schools, all at the same time, in a show of solidarity for the recent sexual assault victims, which those stories have made national attentions. We'll talk about that for a little bit. We're also going to talk about the day's headlines. We'll talk about the hearing today that took place with TikTok and YouTube and all that stuff. And we'll dive right into it. This is Wake Up America.
News channel after news channel after news channel. Ever wonder why they report the same news? This is Wake Up America.
Brought to you by Citizen Stringer.
The media has become absolute lunacy. What makes us different? We just tell the truth. Daily headlines, politics, social issues, focusing on headlines that the mainstream media ignores. Conservative to the core and honest, sometimes to a fault. Unapologetically American. Welcome to Wake Up America with your host, Stephen Oatley.
All right, if you didn't know that this show is sponsored by Spartan Armor, well, you know what? I just realized I'm missing something. There we go. That's better. This show is sponsored by Spartan Armor Systems. They make body armor. Now, body armor is something you need to have. In the past week, there's been 14 mass shootings across the United States. There was a mall shooting yesterday, which injured 4 or 5 people, killing 1. A police officer was also injured. It's not safe to go to any place in America, whether you're walking your dog, going outside to the mall, going to see a movie, going to a grocery store. You need to be wearing body armor. Now, Spartan Armor Systems is an incredible company. They're based in Arizona. They have these this is a concealable plate carrier. Believe it or not, this one's extra large. I'm just a big dude, so I fill it right out. You know what I'm saying? But they have some great stuff. They have this runs about $300. They have a tactical set, which I have somewhere in here. That runs about $600. And if you use code YEET, that's YEET, you get 10% off your order. When you're talking about a $300 set or a $500 set or $600 set, that's a big discount. You know, it's $50, $60, dollars, depending on how much you're spending. They also have amazing hats. We have some of their hats somewhere. They have shirts. That's the shirt I'm wearing today. Check them out, SpartanArmorSystems.com. Use code YEET, and you get 10% off your order. All right, to start us off today, you guys know we do this weekly article, actually one of our writers, Lauren Jessup, writes the article every week where we talk about what's going on with the United States border. Now, the large portion of this show is actually going to be involving the border. We in a little bit, we're going to have I preempted myself there. We're going to have gubernatorial candidate Don Huffines. He's a 4-year veteran state senator, and he a business entrepreneur, and he's a patriot. So we'll listen to him talk about what's going on at the border. For all of you guys, you can, especially the Texans that are watching our show, we have a ton of you. So maybe that'll help you guys decide which way you want to vote, and that's why we're having him on. But he's going to talk about the border crisis and what's going on there. We had 192,000 people cross in the month of September, which is crazy. We're up to 1.7 million people that have crossed in fiscal year 2021, which is more than any other year. The previous record was in 1986 with 1.63 million people. Just to age myself a little bit, I was 2 years old. We have the all-time record already so far in fiscal year 2021 with 1.7 million people. Now, keep in mind, it's believed that for every 4 people that are caught, 1 person escapes. That means 4 people who turn themselves in to the Border Patrol or are caught trying to sneak into this country, 1 person out of 4 hasn't been caught, and they're trying to stay in the United States, and they haven't been caught. That means over 300,000, over almost 400,000 people in the United States now that are illegal here, and there's nothing going on. The Biden administration has said that they're not going to do any of the workplace ICE enforcement anymore. That used to happen a lot when I lived in Florida, where they would go into businesses and they do document checks, essentially making sure that the people that were working at those businesses were legal. Usually they were fencing companies or big, outdoor, farms, things like that. And there was always huge bus when we lived down there, huge bus all the time, and they were right in the same area where we lived. But every week Lauren puts together this disorder on the border. So I'm just going to go over it for a little bit just so you guys get a full understanding. Again, Fox News is doing a good job covering what's going on at the border, but pretty much everyone else seems to ignore it and pretend it's not happening. So let's talk about it. Back on October 15th, suspected cartel gunmen fired shots across the border at Texas National Guards in Roma, and tracers from machine guns were witnesses fired towards the United States. In the same area, cartel gunmen have been seen taunting the soldiers. Fox News was embedded with the National Guard at the time, and also witnessed smugglers bringing raft loads of illegal immigrants across the river by hundreds during the evening hours. We're also seeing more activity in the Yuma sector in Arizona. This is your weekly roundup. In Yuma, Arizona, El Centro sector, agents arrested 5 illegal aliens and seized multiple semi-automatic rifles or semi-automatic weapons. Items seized included 2 semi-automatic AR-15 rifles, 4 semi-automatic pistols, a single revolver, 3 sets of ballistic body armor, and a cattle prod, all inside the trailer home. On the 11th, in the desert area east of Calexico, agents observed a vehicle on the highway exhibiting signs consistent with human smuggling. The area is a known corridor frequently used for human smuggling. Agents observed the vehicle travel to the trailer park where the driver and its occupants walked inside one of the trailer homes. Agents proceeded to initiate a consensual request to inspect the residence, and during the initial knock on the door, they observed several individuals quickly run into a bathroom inside the trailer. Agents also noted several firearms in plain view all throughout the house. Additional agents were requested and arrived to assist. After announcing their presence, they conducted another consensual request, which resulted in 5 illegal aliens, the only occupants inside, exiting the trailer. During the questioning, one of the illegals admitted to being the driver of a vehicle and caretaker of the trailer. In Edinburgh, Texas, Rio Grande Valley sector, Border Patrol agents discovered 39 migrants harbored in 2 stash houses. On October 18th, agents and law enforcement officials approached a residence in Panitas suspected of harboring illegal aliens. As a result, 26 illegals from Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador were found in a rundown house with limited access to basic necessities. The migrants were taken into Border Patrol custody. No caretaker was identified for that building. That same evening, a concerned citizen reported suspicious activity in an abandoned apartment in Roma, where agents and officers discovered 13 illegals from Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador inside, including 1 female unaccompanied juvenile. The illegals were found to be in good health and were taken into Border Patrol custody. No caretaker was present during that either, apparently. El Paso, Texas, agents continued to disrupt stash houses in West Texas and southern New Mexico. On the 17th, agents arrested a U.S. citizen who was attempting to smuggle 4 illegal aliens through Las Cruces Border Patrol Station at Highway 185. During questioning, information was gleaned concerning suspect stash houses in Vinton. On October 18th, the information from the previous day led agents to numerous agencies to coordinate the successful rescue of 20 illegals. Among those arrested were citizens from Bolivia, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Mexico. On the 19th, agents tracked a group of illegals by following their footprints. The footprints led them to an abandoned property in Columbus, New Mexico, where they encountered 31 illegal immigrants crammed inside a small mobile home. Now, it's not just people that are being trafficked across the border. We also have drugs, a lot of drugs. Officers in the Far International Bridge cargo facility intercepted $768,500 worth of cocaine and methamphetamine in multiple incidents. On October 11th, officers encountered a commercial tractor trailer arriving from Mexico. Inspection revealed 20 packages of cocaine weighing 49.95 pounds concealed within the tractor. On the 18th, he encountered a tractor trailer arriving from Mexico. Inspection revealed at least one package of meth weighing 16.88 pounds concealed within the trailer. Moments later, officers encountered yet another tractor trailer arriving from Mexico, and in the inspection revealed 8 packages of cocaine weighing 19 pounds of cocaine concealed within the trailer. Now, it's not just drugs and people being smuggled across the border. It's also sex offenders and gang members. In Del Rio, in 1 week, Del Rio agents arrested 4 convicted sexual offenders who were trying to make their way into the United States. Brackettsville Station identified a male illegal from Mexico who was convicted of an indecent exposure in Dallas in 1998 and was sentenced to 60 days confinement. He was removed in 2021 in July. So he was just removed in July, and now he's already back. Or trying to come back. A male illegal from Mexico arrested by Eagle Pass Station agents was previously convicted of aggravated criminal sexual abuse on a child less than 13 in Illinois in 2006. He was sentenced to 7 years confinement. He was most recently removed from the U.S. in October of this month. He was already removed this month, and he came back. And now he's getting removed again. Comstock Station arrested a male illegal from Mexico convicted of indecency with a child sexual contact in Houston in 2003. He was sentenced to 3 years confinement and deported in April of 2008. And lastly, agents from Uvalde Station arrested a male illegal from Honduras who was convicted of forcible touching, again with a child, in Long Island, New York in 2017. How he's even out? I mean, it's 2021. That happened in 2017. Edinburgh, Texas, McAllen Border Patrol agents arrested 3 Mara Subvolcha MS-13 gang members and a previously convicted illegal with an outstanding warrant from Dallas. All 4 are citizens of El Salvador. On the 15th, agents apprehended a group of 17 illegal aliens in Helgado. Record checks on a male from El Salvador revealed a conviction for aggravated homicide and attempted homicide in his home country. He's a gang member. Later that evening, agents approached a group of 65 illegals near La Jolla. Record checks on a man from El Salvador revealed he also was a gang member. On October 17th, agents apprehended a group of 11 illegal immigrants in Helgado. Record checks on an illegal from El Salvador revealed he was a gang member. In 2017, he was sentenced to 80 days confinement by an immigration judge for being unlawfully present in the U.S. after being deported. So now he's back, and the same thing's going to happen. Our taxpayer dollars are going to house him for 80, 90, 120 days, whatever the violation is, and we'll kick him out of the country, and he'll come right back again because, well, why? Why wouldn't he? This is a land of opportunity. Biden's essentially made it so people can't do their job at the border, and just opening it up. And then it just goes on. I mean, these are long articles that we report on all the time because we have to, and we couldn't even cover it all in just this week. I think it was yesterday, actually, Fox News reporting that they discovered, I don't even know the number, dozens of illegal aliens hidden inside a freight tanker for a train. You think about how hot it must have been. It's in the 90s down there. You're inside a huge metal tube on a train. You don't know how long they've been there. Apparently, it was super hot. People were injured as a result of that heat. They also caught additional illegal aliens on a freight train that was hauling in new cars into the United States, and each of the car were illegal aliens that were just getting a free ride across the border in these freight trains. This has gone on, and it's going to continue going on. Again, like I said, 192 or 197,000 people crossed in September, bringing the total up to 1.7 million people that have crossed in fiscal year 2021. Again, just so I'm repeating myself, but just so everyone understands, that means that more people have crossed in this year than ever before, any other year before. The next closest one was about 100,000 less people, and that was in 1986, 2 years after I was born. To put that into perspective, that's pretty huge. Now, if you didn't know already, and we're going to talk about it with Don here in a minute, but if you didn't know already, there's a huge caravan that's coming up, and they're making their way through Mexico. Apparently, today was a day of rest for them because they were tired after walking for 2 days. You saw it over the weekend. I believe it was Saturday morning. where this group of people literally just pushed right past Mexican special security forces that were trying to block their pathway into the United States at the Mexico border down south. And they manhandled them, pushed them right out of the way. They couldn't stop them, and they all went into the United States. Now, Mexican authorities are actually like these, I don't know what you call them. They're government departments in Mexico. They're providing maps that have like all the trains that are coming up so they can hop trains and get up here. It doesn't make any sense. They're providing humanitarian aid by guiding them to the United States. Doesn't make any sense, really. Now, the one craziest story, or the craziest aspect, and I just heard this on Fox News a little bit ago today, the guy that's leading this caravan of thousands, tens of thousands of migrants up to the United States is a United States citizen. It's a man with dual citizenship between Mexico and the United States. And he gave an interview with Fox and said, he's mad at Biden because this is supposed to be the land of opportunity and he should just go. But I'm unsure if this is the same guy that said that they were going to fight at the border or whatever the case may be. But this is a huge issue. You have tens of thousands of people. We know what happened when the Haitian immigrants staged at the border. 14,000 of them were released onto the United States streets. They were just released. I believe they only rehomed or repatriated about 3,000 of the 17,000 people that were there. 14,000 illegal immigrants, those Haitian illegal immigrants that were down at the border a while ago, they're all in the United States right now awaiting their court dates. They didn't even have court dates when they were released. They were just told to call a number to the Border Patrol station and they'll get them the court dates later to seek asylum. That's what's going on in America right now. So, and again, in a little bit, we're going to have Don Huffines on. He's running for governor in the state of Texas, directly challenging Abbott. Now, if you pay attention to what's going on, Abbott's he's made this switch from moderate conservative, if you even want to say that, but from the moderate side, where a year ago he was locked down doing mask mandates and all that stuff. And I wonder if polling suggested that he better man up and actually become an American, because now he's taking the stance on abortion. He's toughening up the border. He's actually following Don Huffines on his website, actually has a list of things he'll do immediately to secure the border and all those things. And it seems like Governor Abbott is actually doing those things, like building the wall. Now, Governor Abbott was talking about financing the wall themselves, sending National Guard to the border. That's something that he just announced, I believe, yesterday. It's very interesting, but I wonder if it's because they think that in the polling, the internal polling that all these political candidates and everybody does, I'm wondering if they just think that it's too darn close. Because not only do you have Don Huffines, you also have Alan West, who apparently has thrown his hat in the ring for the Republican seat, which is interesting as well. And then on the left, you got Beto O'Rourke, and then you've got maybe Matthew McConaughey, who said he's entertaining, but nobody even knows if McConaughey is going to run for governor. You don't even know which side he's going to go. And then you got Chad Prather, who's a host of a Blaze TV show that decided he's going to run for governor as well. Although I don't know where he's polling. He's not listed. I don't know if he's running as an independent or Republican. He's out there. Nice guy. But it's very interesting what's going on there. So we're going to have Don on in a few minutes. But first, here's a little quick commercial that I think you all need to hear. Okay? Stay tuned. Stay. Students at high schools across Loudoun County planned and succeeded in a protest walkout to demand safety in schools and show solidarity to victims of sexual violence following 2 recent sex assaults. On Monday, a judge found a teenage boy guilty of sexually assaulting a classmate in a girls' bathroom at Stonebridge High School in Ashburn, Virginia. A second charge against the boy for an indecent at Broad Run High School, which happened after the first sexual assault. He was reassigned to a new school, and he went on to assault someone else, to sexually assault another girl at another school. That charge is still pending. Investigators say the teen forced a female classmate into an empty room where he then assaulted her. A number of student walkouts and protests for the incident are planned and were enacted. Again, I'm reading an older article at schools in the district, including Stonebridge, Broad Run, and Riverside. Now, local helicopter was over there. They got some footage. I'll throw a little bit right here just so you can see quite a lot of students there. Now, I believe the school board meeting is going to be next Tuesday. I could be wrong on that, but I think the next Loudoun County School Board meeting is next Tuesday. They've already tried to enact new policies to limit the amount of people that are allowed to speak at those events. We know one school board member actually resigned and withdrew as a member. Loudoun County is kind of the battleground for CRT. It's a battleground for the trans issue with bathrooms. It's a battleground for a lot of things, which is interesting because the political candidates, Glenn Youngkin and Terry McAuliffe, who are both Terry McAuliffe is a Democrat, Glenn Youngkin is awesome, and he's Republican nomination. They're going back and forth, hitting all sorts of stuff, hitting all these different topics. Obviously, McAuliffe just keeps saying Glenn Youngkin is like Trump and we don't want another Trump, because that's the easiest way to get people to not vote for someone, is just say they follow Trump. Whereas McAuliffe is the guy that says that parents don't have a right to determine, to know what curriculum is being taught. That was a new news story that came out this morning, is that Loudoun County apparently was requiring, if parents wanted to see the curriculum that their school district was teaching their children, they had to sign a non-disclosure and approve and agree to not share that information out with anybody else, which is very perplexing, because why wouldn't you want people to know what you're teaching? Now, I want everyone to pay attention. We have to thank COVID for what's going on here. We have to, because if COVID didn't happen and this whole pandemic didn't go and all the schools shut down and everyone went virtual, we would have no understanding on what teachers were actually teaching the students. We'd have no understanding of it. The only reason we actually know what's going on in this country right now in terms of our education system are purely because the pandemic forced students to go online. It forced the parents to be at home. It forced the parents to pay attention to what their kids were learning, and that's why we have this going on at school districts across America. Now, in 8 days, I believe it is, that's when the election here in Virginia is. A lot of politicians, or a lot of political analysts, are saying this is going to be the deciding factor. You have Glenn Youngkin on one hand, you have Terry McAuliffe on the other. The latest polling suggests they're both at 48, which is crazy because there's a 3% margin of error there. So now that's down to 3.5% margin of error. So this is a very, very close race. And a lot of the political analysts are saying this is going to be a precursor to what's going to happen in 2022. I was talking with someone 2 days ago, and I said, I firmly believe that if Glenn Youngkin wins with this election, he becomes the next governor in Virginia, we will see riots again. We will see the BLM protests marching down the street. We will see that same kind of tyranny and terror tactics that drove what happened last year to happen. I can almost guarantee that's what's going to happen next year. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not really sure how it's going to work, but we'll tune in. We'll have to wait and see. Now, unless you live under a rock, you've probably heard about this whole school board or National School Board Association that sent a letter to the Biden administration, who in turn sent that letter to Garland. Garland then issued a stern warning to all police agencies with a public memo that basically classified anybody who stands up to a radical school board as in claims that they're domestic terrorists now. Well, he since tried to walk that back after some congressional hearings last week. There's still calls for him either to resign or at least clarify his remarks in that memo. The school board association itself has issued letters out to all its members saying they probably should have thought about it more. There's a lot of weird stuff that's come out about how the school board association and the White House planned what was going to be in that letter before, and they specifically chose certain incidences to prove violence. Leaving out the context of which one was the Loudoun County dad who was who understandably got very physical and had to be removed from a county meeting after he found out that his daughter was one of two victims that were sexually assaulted by a dude that identifies as a girl in a bathroom or bisexual or something like that. Who cares? It's stupid. But there's a new article that came out the other day on the WashingtonPost.com, and I'm probably not going to be able to read it because I think it's behind a paywall, and I'm not paying for this shit news article. But even the caption says enough. Parents claim they have the right to shape their kids' school curriculum. They don't. This is an article by Jack Schneider and Jennifer Berkshire that was published on the 21st. And I saw it a couple of days ago, and I decided not to talk about it because, well, it's stupid. In their search for issues that will deliver Congress in 2022, conservatives have begun to circle around the cause of parents' rights. In Indiana, Republican Attorney General Todd Rokia Rokita recently introduced a Parents' Bill of Rights, which asserts that the educational policy and curriculum should accurately reflect the values of Indiana families. Sounds like a really good idea, right? Apparently, that's not. They don't believe that. In Florida, legislator passed an even more comprehensive bill assuring that the state and its public schools cannot infringe on the fundamental rights of parents. A growing number of states are allowing parents to sue districts that teach banned concepts. And in Virginia, Republican Glenn Youngkin has made parents' rights a centerpiece of his campaign for governor, staging Parents Matter rallies and declaring, I believe parents should be in charge of their kids' education. How are we even debating this as Americans? I have no idea. For some reason, this woke left thinks that they know more about how to raise kids than you. It's kind of like they think they know more about how black people are treated than black people, or how they know more about where someone should spend money than the people who actually have the money, or how they know more about the side effects of a weird drug that you put in your body even though the side effects are published. It's mind-boggling. But now apparently they believe they know more than the parents who are tasked with raising their children. The story goes on to say, given this frenzy, one might reasonably conclude that radicals are out to curtail their established rights that Americans have over the educational sphere. Yet what's actually radical here is the assertion of parental powers that have never previously existed. This is not to say that parents should have no influence of how their children are taught, but common law and case law in the United States have long supported the idea that education should prepare young people to think for themselves, even when that runs counter to the wishes of the parents. But that's not what they're doing. If you indoctrinate a child with a certain way of thinking, guess what happens? You've indoctrinated that child. It's not going to change. So parents want to make sure that the curriculum that is being taught in schools is being taught correctly. And again, I think I either talk about it earlier in this show or I'll talk about it later. I can't tell right now. But this is literally the only reason we know any of this stuff is going on in this country is because of COVID. We should thank COVID for that. We should thank, Fauci for that, because now parents are not sleeping when it comes to their kids' education, which they should have never been doing in the first place. For some reason, we were, though, as parents. It's mind-boggling. And for a writer or an author to do this and to write this kind of article, which asserts that anybody that wants to take a proactive role in parenting their child, including what they read or what they watch. Here's the funny thing, right? Okay, I want everyone to think about this. Today, we covered TikTok hearings, or we covered hearings on whether children should be exposed to TikTok, Google, all these, Snapchat, all this stuff. And you have all these Democrats talking about how dangerous it is to allow these young people to have access to those devices, in some cases I agree. I mean, YouTube Kids, even though they say they have this very selective policy for YouTube Kids, I mean, my kids will get on and they'll watch on YouTube Kids, they'll watch some shit that's in a different language, and the next thing you hear cursing on YouTube Kids, it doesn't make any damn sense. So they're not doing a good selective job of that, but they believe that kids should not be exposed to things on TikTok, but yet they believe you should teach kids that one race is better than the other. And I know you may be saying, well, they're not doing that. Well, yeah, you are. If you're marginalizing one race and saying that one group is an oppressor and one group is not, or is the oppressed, that's what you're doing. And especially when you group those people by race, that's what you're doing. And it is happening in schools. There's curriculum that's going on. Everyone follow Christopher Russo on Twitter if you want to find out what's really going on in schools. And it's pretty much every state that has some sort of weird stuff. And some of them are getting around it because they're banning critical race theory. But then what they're doing is, and I think Virginia does this, is one of the licensing requirements in Virginia to be a newly licensed, not if you transfer out of state, is this whole critical self-awareness bullshit, which is all that same CRT bullshit. People have to understand that this isn't going to go away. And you know what? Parents will always have a choice in how their kids are raised and what kind of educational system is provided to them. Parents will always have that choice, and there's nothing that anybody will ever be able to do to take that choice away from parents. Now, this Washington Post article, even though everybody says that this is, it's not crazy. Randy Winderstein, who's the AFT president, she's a teacher, a unionist, fighting for children and communities, democracy, justice, public ed, blah, blah, blah. She's the head of a very powerful teachers union. She retweeted this article The one I just read to you, saying great peace on parents' rights in public schools. They don't think you should have a right to talk or to plan what's actually being taught to your kids. My kids are never going to be thinking that they're the oppressors of other races just because of the color of their skin. That doesn't make any sense. Anyone who talks about white privilege or anything like that to my kids is going to have a rude awakening. You want to talk about white privilege? Because I didn't get any. Everything I have, I built from the ground up. I was fucking homeless. I had a hard ass life growing up. Trust me, I lived in a campground when I was in like 5th grade. Okay, so trust me, I know what the hardships are of a life. You know, and for people to talk about this kind of stuff, and then for people to literally just say, well, you know what? You don't have the right for this. You don't have the right for that. You don't have the right for this. You don't have the right for that. It's all bullshit. And we have to put a stop to it. Anyway, here's the next story. Now, one of the other things I wanted to talk about today, and it's something I haven't really talked about that much. Yesterday, we were talking about these protests that took place on, I believe, Sunday outside of Barclay Stadium or something in New York, where the Nets play, I believe. And then we haven't really touched on the Dave Chappelle show or the Dave Chappelle special that's on Netflix and all the trans whatever that's transpired. All the transpire whatever, all the stuff that's happened as a result of that, and the Netflix walkouts and the violence that took place and protests outside there, and Dave Chappelle apparently trying to be censored. Well, now here's another one. Here's another news article that's out here, and this is for an art. I don't know what it is. It says sports news without fear, favor, or compromise. It's Deadspin.com. Never heard of it before today. And I'm not going to read the whole article. I just think it's very funny. Because the title says, Kyrie Irving and Dave Chappelle are being used as black pawns on a white chessboard. This race bullshit's not going to go away. And I wonder who Karen Phillips is, the author, because I bet Karen Phillips, actually, let's just see. Karen Phillips, let me search this live. You guys can't see it, but I'm going to look him up because I'm curious before I say what I wonder what Karen Phillips looks like. Let me see. I bet he doesn't have a photo, or she. I don't even know what name that is. Let's see. No profile photos. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, so it's a black dude. Okay, cool. All right, so that makes it even better. It makes it even better. So the headline, it says, black pawns on a white chessboard. Kyle Irving and Dave Chappelle are getting played. This isn't a battle of free speech or free will, no matter how some try to spin it. This is a debate on whether or not the government or corporate entities should be allowed to mandate human rights. No. What we're watching is two men who falsely believe their good intentions trump faulty execution while not realizing that their names and stances are being pimped by the same people they originally wanted to stand against. On Monday, the Brooklyn Nets defeated the Washington Wizards 104-99. Kevin Durant, blah blah blah. Who gives a shit? It's because these people are racist. Okay, this guy. Here's the thing. Do you know that people don't do that? Non-racist people don't say black people are being used as pawns on a white chessboard. They don't. That's racist. That's using race. That's injecting race into what's going on. What's going on now is you have Dave Chappelle who's speaking. I don't even know. I don't know the scenario behind Dave Chappelle. I know he's a comedian that decided to make a special where he talks about someone that affected him, someone that affected him in a positive way, and they're trying to cancel him for it, which doesn't make any sense to me. And so apparently he's being used as a white pawn, which doesn't make any sense. It's a fight against cancel culture is what it is. The fact that Fox News is even covering it and showing all these protests and trans people saying, we are trying to make our way into American entertainment business, and Dave Chappelle, his speech is it harms us and it makes it so we can't be who we are, blah, 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 bullshit. I don't even care. I'm going to watch that special tonight probably so I can try to, speak about it and see what the hell all the fuss is about. Even though I'm not a big fan of watching stand-up comedy, especially from comedians I don't like. But I feel like I have to because I feel like I've been neglecting that story just because I don't necessarily care for Dave Chappelle. But let's talk about this Kyrie guy. Don't watch basketball. I think it's a lame-ass sport to watch on TV. It's fun to play, lame to watch on TV. There's my take on basketball. But here's the thing. You got a guy that's standing up for what he believes in, and then you have writers, some hack journalist bullshit artists, racist. I'll say it. Karen Phillips, you're a racist. Share this out to him if you want. But he's a racist. If you align race with the fight against something, that's racist. That's what you're doing. People, here's the thing. People that marched for Kyrie Phillips the other day, in Brooklyn, the people that went to the Barclays Center and did that, the people that did that, they were together. They were mask mandators. They were MAGA guys, or not mask, anti-mandates. They were MAGA people, Trump supporters, Black Lives Matter. They were all together. So how are you going to say that? I mean, here's the thing too. This is what's perplexing to me, and I talk about this all the time. If you want to look at who COVID disproportionately affects and what group of people should be up in arms about all these mandates taking place, especially if you take last year and all the bullshit things that they were saying that disproportionately affected them. Now you take one that does disproportionately affect people, and you have journalists coming out here doing hit pieces on basketball players who just don't want to get a vaccine in their arm. They don't want to be mandated to do something they don't want to do. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Irving, the man that has been more than generous with his time and money by donating to the WNBA, his Native American people, to the hungry, and even bought a house for George Floyd's family, is now being used as a puppet for the same crowd that doesn't give a damn about his black life, according to this author. This is what happens when you think you're always the smartest person in the room and you're actually just a narcissist that surrounds himself with idiots. So this hack journalist on this stupid ass website I've never heard of called Deadspin is literally calling Kyrie Irving a narcissist for not wanting to get a mandated jab in his arm. Who's the narcissist? Who is the one that's literally saying that you don't have a choice, that you have to follow blindly what anyone else says? That's what people are doing. That's what America's becoming, a place where you can't make your own choices, where the head person in charge says, you must do this, and then you go, yes, sir, I'll do that. So crazy. And then it goes on to say, also on Monday, Dave Chappelle proved that he has forever fallen down the same hole that Irving has when he released a video on Instagram in which he once again dug into his stance as he keeps trying to play the victim due to the controversy in his latest stand-up special, The Closer, that has caused Netflix and within the LGBTQ community because of his continued harmful jokes against transgender community. Earlier this month, Netflix suspended a trans employee who publicly spoke out against Chappelle. That's false. They suspended a trans employee who was trying to plan a walkout and a protest at a private business. You know what I mean? If you believe that a business has the right to mandate you get some jab in your arm, then you have to believe that a business has the right to suspend somebody that's actively plotting to protest against that said business, right? You would think common sense would say that. No, because apparently a protected class, which doesn't mean LGBTQ plus, it doesn't mean black, Asian, Mexican, Spanish, anything like that. A protected class now is woke. If you are woke, you are a protected class and nobody can touch you. And anybody who does that is labeled a racist by shithead journalists. I'm going to start reading Deadspin every day just so every single article this guy does, I can do a critique about it, because this is stupid. And see, here's the thing. Deadspin, probably a couple of years ago, I probably would have read it, not because of the political leanings, obviously, that are in their articles, but because I liked or used to like sports. I can't watch sports anymore. Why? Because we have 2 new national anthems that we apparently sing. Everybody has stupid ass murderers and sex offenders and criminals' names on their helmets. They ruin the fucking game. They ruin baseball. They ruin basketball. They ruin every single possible sport. Everything that could care about has to go woke. You know what will never go woke? Me. I'll never go woke. And I'll always continue to speak out against these idiots that think that this is a justified behavior and think that trying to cancel people or using race as bait. You want to talk about who's being used as bait, sir? All of your readers. They're the ones who you're using as bait. Scumbags. I want to find out what his closing paragraph is. Kyle Irving can't see the back screen coming. Dave Chappelle doesn't realize he's a punchline. Who's the pawn now? You know what? You know what doesn't make any sense? 2 years ago, comedians could get up on stage before COVID. They could get up on stage and they could make jokes. We've heard black people talk about being white people, you know, with all the strange white guy accents and all the stuff that black comedians did. Is that not allowed? Or now you can't use jokes about, you know, slums, or you can't use jokes about Indians or Asians or anything. You can't talk about anything anymore. That is what they want. They want you just to, well, I mean, what is humor to these idiots? I don't know. Maybe I need to sit down with someone that considers themselves woke and find out what they think is funny. Because yesterday we talked about how the ADL wants to cancel Halloween and says that kids aren't supposed to be dressed as superheroes because they're scary and mean. What the fuck is going on with this country that every single day there's some sort of new crazy story that yet we're supposed to just believe, okay, well, one day it all makes sense. One day they'll wake up. I'll be honest. This is racist. This guy, I'll say it with 100% certainty, Mr. Whatever your shitbird name is, Karen Phillips. You're a racist, dude. You're putting race here. You're saying that Kyrie Irving and Dave Chappelle, both people who are exercising their First Amendment rights and choosing to speak out about it, you're saying they're being used as pawns by white people on a white chessboard, you racist piece of shit? I'll be honest, that's what it is. That's what this is, and it's disgusting to me. It pisses me off more than I can imagine. I don't know who Karen Phillips is, and frankly, I don't care. He's just another one of these woke libtard guys that walk around thinking they're better than everybody else and they know more. He's probably got a degree from some stupid ass school, and they taught him that this kind of culture is okay, and that this kind of thing, and just to critique people and to use racism as a tool, because that's what this guy is doing. He's using racism as a tool, and guess what? You succeeded. You pissed me off. Congratulations, you dumbass. This is part of the show that some of you guys love to hate or hate to love. One, I don't know which way it is, but I want to implore you guys to sign up for our live streaming platform. We own our own platform. We've got Roku, smart TV devices, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Android TV. We also have an Android app and Apple app that are both being rebuilt and released, but you can use the current ones we have now. It's the easiest way to support us. Outside of that, outside of signing up on citizenstringer.tv, which allows us to keep doing what we're doing, to hire new reporters, to keep building our channel and providing you guys with real news. Another way to do it is to buy our clothing. We have our store, puretruthclothing.com. You can also find it on the top of the Citizen Stringer website. We have our Wake Up America. This is a flagship shirt here. These shirts, because here's the thing, we've had some issues with shipping, so we're switching to actually printing everything in-house. These shirts, the F. Joe Biden shirts and sweatshirts, we have those. The Wake Up America shirts, these are actually printed in-house by me. I've already got the stock ready, so if you order today, you'll probably get your shipping notification first thing tomorrow morning, and then you'll have your product in 2 or 3 days. Same goes with coffee. If you guys didn't know, we launched our own coffee line. This is our French roast. Amazing, amazing coffee. It's damn good. Okay, we have a lot of people that already ordered the coffee, that already know that the coffee's good. What I would love you guys to do right now is go in the chat and be like, yo, this is the best coffee I've ever had, man. Best coffee ever. So that way more people go and do it. And here's the thing. We also did a subscribe and save deal for all of our coffee boxes. So whether you have, or all of our coffee. So if you order one and you want it delivered every 2 weeks, you can subscribe and save 10% off your order. We also do it with the coffee box, the monthly coffee box. I got to make sure that it works with the mug, but I think what it does is when you order it, you automatically will get the mug. If not, it's going to be a pain in the ass and I'll have to fix that. But that's all 5 of the flavors that we carry, plus a couple of extra things in the boxes that are thrown in. So please make sure you check it out. We do have Trumpkin, the Trumpkin blend. That's obviously, we don't have a lot of this left because it's almost the end of the month. We do have probably a dozen or so of them left. Get your order in now. This is pretty damn good. And I don't like flavored coffee much, but I like this. Could be that, it's just our brand, my brand. So I really like it. But yeah, check it out, please, guys. That's the best way you can support us. Yeah, you can send YouTube super chats and Facebook stars and all that. But if you really want to support our channel, the best way to do it is, one, go pick up some stuff in our store. And two, sign up for a monthly membership to citizenstringer.tv. You'll always know when we go live. We're building a notification system in there where I'm actually on the back end. It's what I've been working on during the days. That's why you haven't seen me, is I've been building in a forum. So we're going to have a members only area just for the Citizen Stringer crowd, where you guys will be able to comment almost like Discord, but just for the Citizen Stringer crowd. So I'm building that in, and that should be released here in the next week or two. Everything takes longer when I do it because I don't know what the hell I'm doing with coding and all that. But yeah, please, guys, show your support that way. It's awesome. Here's our next. Actually, we're going to go to a Just CBD commercial real quick, and then we'll be back.
Finding the right CBD product for you can be tough. Just CBD has you covered. We offer the highest quality, most consistent CBD gummies on the market, with soothing 100% organic CBD in every mouth-watering gummy. All of our products are lab certified and made in the United States using organically grown hemp. Each of our gummies gives you between 8 and 25 milligrams of soothing CBD. Enjoy all the benefits of CBD in our amazing line of gummies with Just CBD.
All right, and what may be my 15th public service announcement this week, I want to say something on why we do this show and why it's so important. So you may or may not know that there is an election that is going to take place in 8 days here in Virginia. You have Terry McAuliffe, the Democrat, running against Glenn Youngkin, a conservative, a very tall conservative. He used to play basketball, and he challenged Barack Obama, who likely isn't going to accept that challenge. Anyway, a lot of people say, what is the point of voting? What is the point of this? What is the point of that? What is the point of this? Steve, why do you do it? How come you do your show every day? Well, I will tell you something. I've known a woman. There's a woman in my life, okay? And it's not my wife. No, I'm just kidding. Well, it's not. And she is in my life. Anyway, there's a woman I know that's voted Democrat, voted along her party lines for 40 years. 40 years. And she just voted not along party lines in the early voting. Now, you may say, well, why is that important? And what was the reason? Well, the reason was the mandates. And I think if we can convince one, and so I chalk that up as a victory. So that's one to go, 90 million to go. But I chalk that up as a victory because, one, I know they watch the show. Shout out to you, Mom. And two, just because there's other people that watch a show that may be left or maybe left of center or maybe Democrats or whatever. And it's important for people to realize that if you vote now for the politicians that are currently in office, you are going to get what we are all telling you what's going to happen. And in fact, you could look back at my videos last November or last, October, last September, where we talked about the elections, where we showed the debates, where we focused on what would happen. And we forecasted, most conservatives all forecasted what would happen this year. Maybe not to the extreme, not to the extreme that we're currently living in every day. I mean, Joe Biden's an idiot and he's destroying our country. Maybe we didn't see that he was going to do it this quick, but I remember, and it plagues me, on January 21st, sitting back and saying live on the air that we're just going to wait and see how much our country is destroyed, how quickly it'll be destroyed. And I'm going to sit back and I'm going to laugh as all the people that are affected by it, all the people that voted Joe Biden in office, 5 of them, all the people that voted Joe Biden into office, are affected by his horrible policy making and his 47 years of foreign policy and everything. We've seen that. We've seen what all his foreign policy experience and his Build Back Better. We see you, Joey boy. We see you. Fox News is now reporting 450 Americans are stranded in Afghanistan as of today. This is 70 plus days after the occupation ended. Or since the war ended, or whatever you want to call it. We have a problem in this country. And the reason why I do this, and the reason why it's important for you guys to tell people about this program and other programs, this isn't a promotion. I'm not saying go tell everyone about Citizen Stringer. I don't care. Just talk to people. And here's the thing, because you could talk to someone, they could listen, and then a couple of months later, they may say, hey, guess what? We voted against our party lines because of things that you said or light that you shed. And to be honest, the only reason this person voted outside of, didn't vote for a Democrat was because of the mandates, because they have a fear that these mandates are going to come back once these elections are done. And they are. Because we know now with the Project Veritas video from last night, New Jersey's governor, all the advisors and strategic, campaign advisors have said that it's in Governor Phil Murphy, right? I think that's his name. That it's his plan is to enact, business mandates and all this on pandemic after he wins his election. That's the Project Veritas video from last night. And it's not getting a lot of traction today for some reason. And I suspect it's because everyone already knew it. Everybody already knew that was in it. I think another governor today in Illinois, Pritzker, just said that he was going to do the same thing, or that he is doing the same thing. He's not even waiting. Or maybe he said, I don't even remember. But these mandates are not going to go away. In fact, they're just going to be, crazier. I was talking to someone I really care about, and someone that sometimes I really scratch my head and wonder what the hell, why did I send her to school? That kind of stuff. But I was talking to someone today about mandates, and their rationale, even though they disagree with the fundamental idea of mandates, they're like, well, people have to get flu shots. People have to get vaccinated to go do this, or you had to be vaccinated when you became an EMT. And I'm like, yeah, but that was a choice. I could have not been an EMT and continued doing what I was doing, and I wouldn't have had to have those vaccinations. Do you know what I mean? I understand with some vaccinations how they should be required in a healthcare setting. But again, that's when those are experienced vaccinations. Those are tests. Those are things that we've done the research on. We know what is going to happen. We know the outcomes of these things. We know the side effects. There's not new side effects that are popping up every day. I swear I just heard some CDC thing on the radio, and I can't talk about it. Never mind. I heard something that said if you notice your face turns blue, dial 911. I don't even know what they were talking about, but it was a CDC commercial that just played on some podcast I was listening to. But we live in a weird time, and we got to take our victories when they come. I said, my response when I got the text message today from that voter, I said, well, that's one down. We change one at a time. That's the reason why I do this. That's the reason why you should continue to talk about this program, talk about other programs. If there's a clip or something that's good, share it, use it. And get the message out, get what's going on across this country, and allow people to actually see what's happening, because it's incredibly important. It's incredibly important. So in just a little bit, and I may have segued this already, in just a little bit, we're going to have Don Huffines on the show. That's going to be amazing. It's a good interview. We interviewed him earlier today at 1 o'clock, so you'll see it's just, a different kind of look. You're not going to see me. You'll hear my audio through the recording. But we interviewed him, and I'm more than willing. Anyone out there that has other people that you think would be make good guests, send April an email. Send us an email at social@PT News Network, and we'll try to get that person on. I'm committed to doing more interviews. I'm committed to going on more shows. You guys know yesterday morning I was talking about the supply chain issues with Fault Lines Radio. And so we were on terrestrial radio and their online stations and all that. So people got to hear what actually is going on with supply chain instead of this left-wing media narrative where they're just trying to pass the Drive Safe Act and screw over trucking forever. But yeah, Don Huffines' interview is going to be coming up in just a second. So stay tuned. All right, so we are joined now by Don Huffines. He is running against Governor Greg Abbott for governor in Texas. How you doing today?
I am fantastic. Thank you very much. It's a great day here in Texas to fight for liberty.
Very good. So I spent some time today looking at your website, donhuffines.com, and I got to say, I don't live in Texas, but I've never felt more connected to a political candidate based on the issues that you have on your website. And I encourage all of my listeners and viewers to go look, because every single one of your values are, I think every single political candidate that's running for office in the next cycle needs to have these on their website. Obviously the big one we want to talk about and we want to try to understand, because, you know, I'm not in Texas. We have a lot of viewers that are, is what the heck is going on with the border down there?
Well, of course, it's my number one issue, and it should be everyone in the country's number one issue in the United States, because it's a disaster. It's a total invasion. This is a premeditated attack on Texas and really the country.
Yeah.
The federal government is never going to secure the border. That's really important for everyone to understand. The federal government will never secure the border. They never have. When we had the trifecta in Washington, of course, the House, the Senate, the Republicans, that is, the House and the Senate of a courageous president, Trump, it still was very porous. We still had tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of illegals coming into Texas. And so that's why this election is so important. This is the most important election in the country in 22, because the only chance we have of securing the borders of a courageous governor of Texas. And I can tell you, in my administration, or Huffines administration, I will never ask permission from the federal government to secure the Texas border. I've got a definitive plan that's going to work, and we're going to actually get the border all secure in 30 days.
Yeah. I mean, that's an ambitious goal. I know Governor Abbott, I read one article earlier today that was kind of interesting. It said that he was, you know, his first... you know, he initially kind of was a moderate conservative, and then maybe he's, you know, his polling, all the advisors and everybody started seeing that things were going wrong for him. And he's in recent weeks, it seems he's taken kind of a harder approach towards, you know, more of your key issues. And I'm wondering if he's just reading your campaign promises and kind of, you know, just building off of it with his announcement about the wall, the National Guard, the issue with abortions and those. It just seems that he's slow at figuring out what's going on with his state and caring about it.
Well, he is. Look, Greg Abbott has never been a real conservative. He never has. 30 years in elected office, and he's really never had a primary opponent in 30 years. And so this is the first time he's going to have to be accountable to the Republican Party. And he's just not a leader. My campaign's about leadership, no excuses. And Abbott's a career politician by definition. He's really just an opportunist, a political windsock,